Hey, what's going on, guys? Roaring Turkey here. Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm gonna showcase my Sparkmage deck that I call Sparkmage Cantrip Kill Control. So taking a look at Sparkmage, he is our avatar. He's got the usual tap, player draw a site, but then his unique ability is that he can tap to target a nearby location, and then he damages a random unit at that location equal to the amount of air attunement we've cast on spells this turn. So, what the normal approach with Sparkmage is that you kind of want, he's very spell slingery, and you want to build up to like a big turn in the mid late game and like get like a big zap for like 4 or 5 damage and either kill a big unit or push a lot of damage to the enemy avatar. But in this deck, we're playing very heavily into Poisonous Dagger that we want to equip onto Sparkmage. Poisonous Dagger is a 2-mana weapon. Bearer has lethal. So when we give Sparkmage lethal, the lethal will apply to his tap ability. And then we're playing a lot of just one attunement cantrips in air. Specifically the free movement ones, Blink and Flanking Maneuver, to draw a card when we cast them, get Sparkmage into position without having to tap to move, and then just simply tapping him and pinging something with 1 lethal damage. So we've got the full total of 7 movement cantrips with the 4 blinks, 3 flanking maneuvers. But once we're in position, we also have Apprentice Wizard with the 1 air attunement and Genesis draw a spell. He's going to replace himself. 1 Fade, which is a card I've been wanting to experiment with. It does cantrip. It's conditional and a bit slower. But it kind of, I'll get into some Fade stuff later. And also Evil Presence, which does not exactly draw you a card, but we do have a fairly decently sized spirits package in this deck, and you can be rest assured that the Evil Presence will at some point bounce back to your hand. You'll be able to recast it and get that air attunement for the turn to be able to ping something for lethal damage. Evil Presence I think is a really good card right now. It's really gone up on my radar. There's a lot of good spirits in general, but the fact that you can give them charge and summon them anywhere, Evil Presence kind of is gonna be part of our win con. That's the strategy, right? We're just cantripping, blink, flanking maneuver. We got wizards in the presence, and then you set up the Poisonous Dagger, and you're gonna just constantly replace these cards in your hand. And you're going to turn them into kill spells with the Sparkmage. You can do it once per turn because it's it's a tap ability. But a lot of times it's not too often that your opponent is swarming with a bunch of things. It's usually there's you don't really see more than 3 minions on one side of the board in most games anyways. So it really does the trick. You don't you're not going to get swarmed down. We're running 2 Abundance, which might look a little odd in a Sparkmage deck, but because his ability is a tap ability, we really don't want to be playing too many sites because you have to tap to play those sites, and so then you're not killing something. You also have to draw those sites, so then it's you're not getting your spells. The playset of Abundance is if we happen to draw into it early, you get 5 sites down, slap down an Abundance, get 8 or 9 mana. You're good for the game. You won't need sites anymore, at least until Abundance gets destroyed. Artifacts, we're running the 2 cores in our colors and Kythera Mechanism. This one does a lot of heavy lifting in the deck. Always search it out with the Highland Princess if you don't have it. So Sparkmage has a random unit thing on his ability. You target the location, but you damage a random unit. So the mechanism will let you choose that unit. We're also running Nimbus Djinn. He's kind of like a lightning bolt at location. You know, it hits a random unit. You get to control that. We also have Lightning Bolt, and we have the 3 Headless Haunts. So there is a lot of random outcome stuff happening in this deck. Kythera Mechanism just goes a long way in making sure things go how you want them to go. Alanian Fate, I think, needs no explanation. Just a really good card. Same with Ruler of Thule. And then, again, yeah, we really do want to be playing the Evil Presences because, again, they literally replace themselves. And you can get that value with Sparkmage. But we're also using Ghost Ship and Nimbus Djinn on our top end to sort of like be our win condition. The Nimbus Djinn, like, you know, rapid fire damage is pretty popular right now. I don't think it's new to anybody, but is like you play an Evil Presence, drop down Nimbus Djinn, give him charge, hit for 4, and then dump your hand and deal 3 onto the enemy avatar, and you can put them to death's door from like any number, really. Ghost Ship is also a really good top-end unit. 5 power is a lot. He's a really big unit. When you give it charge from the Evil Presence, it can recur a spirit right away. And you can even move an attack, enter the site, you know, hit for 5, get a spirit. Ghost Ship works really well with Fade. That's kind of why I just got the 1 of in there for it. If you give Ghost Ship Stealth, I mean, it is a big unit. You might want to attack with it again, but you can just go in and out of the void forever, never breaking stealth and just getting your spirits back. Really, that's about the gist of the deck. We got cantrips and spirits and abundance and artifacts. We're gonna hard mulligan for Poisonous Dagger probably every game. This deck, you can win because like your win con are like the big spirits at the top end, but you're gonna have such a more difficult time without the Poisonous Dagger. In the Atlas, the only thing I'll say, I'm running Primordial Spring. It's really good if you're going second. It's a colorless site, but it has Genesis. If you control fewer sites than any opponent, you draw 3 sites. I find if you're going second, there will be a lot of board. Sometimes you have to just like pass and like not play a site and like leave your avatar untapped, and it looks really weird, and I don't really know if opponents would suspect this or like play around it, but it just kind of looks weird. And so with Sparkmage, a lot of times is like on turn 2 or something, or maybe even on turn 3 if you play a dagger on 2, you can just blink that turn, tap him to kill something, and then you didn't play a site, but like it doesn't look as weird because you tapped your Sparkmage to do something else. And then on the following turn, you can hit a Primordial Spring, draw 3 sites, and then you won't need to draw anymore for the rest of the game. This really only works if you're going second, though. If you're going first, you have to like take 2 turns off of playing a site, and that's just like, it's not worth it at that point. You're better off mulliganing this if you can, and if you're stuck with it, just play it as a colorless site and like move on. You don't really need too much help with the attunement. We're mostly air, and we have plenty of air. We have a couple of blue spells, but we have 8 blue sources, and I think that's plenty. And if you really need help with that, we got the 2 crossroads as well. That is going to cover the deck tech, and I will meet you guys later, and we're going to get into some games. That said, it's probably going to be an aggressive full mulligan, looking for Poisonous Dagger. As far as these sites go, I kind of like them. We probably don't need this river. The floodplain will give us 2 water attunement if we flood our own. That lighthouse is way better. And this opening hand is great too. We've got like, oh my god, the mechanism on 1 and the Poisonous Dagger on 2. So then if we could just keep drawing spells, we'll be in a really good spot to start killing things. We're going up against this Sorcerer deck, so we can expect it to be probably a pretty aggressive, low mana curve, drawing 2 spells every turn. It will be tough to outvalue that, but with the dagger, with the cantrips, we might be able to make it happen. Opponent draws a spell for turn. They're going to tap to play a Bedrock. So possibly like Earth Fire is very popular with Sorcerer. Bedrock kind of tells me that they're playing some burrowing guys, as I feel that is the big strength in Bedrock, is that it can't be flooded. So it's like a safe haven for your burrowed minions. And it makes me happy that we have this floodplain to potentially flood out burrowed minions. Ruler of Thule, we'll see if he comes up later. We'll tap to play the floodplain right in front, and then get this Poisonous Dagger online. From here, we got this lone tower. That's good to get to 4 mana. But I think we really want to get to 6 ASAP to cast this Grandmaster Wizard and refill our hand. So it's probably going to be draw a site for turn the next 2 turns. And then play the tower on 5 and hit 6 mana for turn. Play that wizard a turn earlier. And then I think we can chill on 5 mana for a good while. And so we see a Crossroads. That's pretty good. It's going to let us... We're not really looking for anything too specific, but it always is nice. Observatory is good. We see both of those. And then Dark Tower. Yeah, I think it was always Observatory there. Put those on the bottom. And then with 3 mana, nothing to cast, so we're just going to pass. Opponent will draw a spell for turn. Tap to play a site. And that site is a free city, which is a very phenomenal site. I like it more in defensive decks, which I would imagine this is aggressive. They swing in for 1 with their land surveyors, or they don't. They're actually going to play a Crusade first, which is very strong card, and will mean that their land surveyors, when they enter my floodplain, will be 2 power. So they're gonna pass. We're gonna untap, play out this Observatory, and get to look at our top 3 spells. And we see Evil Presence, Amethyst Core, and Flanking Maneuver. We do like that. We like all of that, I suppose. Amethyst Core will get us to 6 mana permanently after the tower effect goes away. Flanking Maneuver is kind of like what this deck wants to be doing, right? It's the movement cantrip. And we're actually going to play the Ruler of Thule on 4 here, just to clean up the board, right? We kill that land surveyor. He has charge. He is gonna stop. He's gonna stop the bleeding a little. Who knows what's gonna come out of that Crusade? But Ruler of Thule has. You can't say he did nothing for us. And then opponent's going to play another Bedrock across from our Observatory. And they're holding this card. It's a Cave Trolls, and they're going to summon that up in front. And they're going to summon it burrowed. And then there's that Amethyst Core. So we're going to tap to play the Lone Tower. Put us to 6 mana for the turn. Play the Amethyst Core. It's mana neutral, but it caps us at 6. And then play out Grandmaster Wizard and draw 3 spells. We do kind of make a mistake in that we forget that Floodplain is across from that Cave Trolls. We could flood that site and kill the Cave Trolls because they would be submerged, but it's just something I didn't pick up on. And it's something my opponent notices this turn. It's like one of the first things they do is they surface those cave trolls. Or they move them or something. Yes, they move them onto the bedrock. Opponent will spend 2 to play another land surveyors. They're keeping up with these land drops. And they are untapped, so they can play a site if they choose. Looks like they will. It's going to be a crossroads. So they look at their top 4 sites. They put 1 on top and the other 3 on the bottom. And then they're going to play a root spider. They definitely don't want to play it on that. I believe that's a quagmire across from the floodplain. Not super sure. The cave trolls are pretty like holding it down on that bedrock. Free City defends itself. It's not like a... I mean, root spiders, like you could play them anywhere really. Like they're just good, but there's no like... Oh, I definitely want them here right now. I mean, overall, it's looking pretty safe. His side of the board. So he is really contemplating this. I do think putting it on that bedrock is probably the best move. Because my Ruler of Thule is in a position where he can turn around and swing. But the Root Spider kind of just stops that. We drew a spell for turn. We got a flanking maneuver. So I'm really thinking that that's like something I want to do this turn. Because, well, it'll replace itself. And I'm not doing much else. I don't want to cast this Ghost Ship with no spirits in my cemetery. I could cast Evil Presence and then do nothing. Because I won't have a spirit to cast alongside it. And I won't be in range, if anything, to, zap. So what we do is we actually do flanking maneuver, and we take the Ruler of Thule with us. Then we will tap to ping those land surveyors. And the Ruler of Thule moves to the crossroads and attacks for 3. We still have the mana here to play this Highland Princess. And there's still an Aquamarine core in the deck that she can grab for us. And that's what we're going to do. And then we'll play it. So we pass to our opponent. They drew a spell for turn. They're going to tap to draw another spell. And so this is like, Sorcerer can be pretty aggressive, but unlike with a lot of aggro decks, he doesn't really run out of steam the way most aggro decks do, because you can draw 2 spells every turn. And so we are going to have to be aware of that. playing this like cantrip kill deck because yeah, like we can kill things and like, you know, cycle those cards, but we're drawing 1 for turn, he's drawing 2. So overall, if we're doing this cantrip kill thing, it's almost like we're going card neutral every turn. So it is going to be a resource battle. And I only have so many cantrips in the deck, but he can draw 2 for like the rest of the game. So we're going to want to try to put some heat on him. I'm not quite sure how, but this Evil Presence Ghost Ship is probably a start. We just want to find like some spirits. We definitely want to get some of those guys back with the Ghost Ship. He surfaces the Cave Trolls. This is what I was afraid of. I kind of knew that that could happen if I did the flanking maneuver, but I just didn't have another play. I can't tell if he's actually... He decides not to, I suppose, probably knowing that I can zap him next turn if I chose to. Nimbus Djinn is great. That's how we can really, like, you know, close this game out before Sorcerer outdraws us. But that Root Spider is burrowed underneath him, and Root Spider will disable the Nimbus Djinn, making it so that he can't do damage in any way, really, to the Sorcerer. So, again, it's going to be like we need to put pressure on the opponent in order to... What's the word? Well, at this point, it's like we want to bait that Root Spider out. We want to force him into a spot where he's like, I need this Root Spider somewhere else, and move him off of the Sorcerer so that we can sneak in the Nimbus Djinn. So now we're looking at where to cast Evil Presence, and we played it here, hoping again to move, and we zapped the Sorcerer for 1 off of that Evil Presence, but that's very out of the way of Sorcerer. It's not directly above him. It's filling 2 voids. None of the sites are adjacent to him, although it looks like now he is playing a site. He plays Sinkhole. Kind of, you know, oof, not the best position for it. But what I was hoping was like on that bedrock, the Nimbus Djinn with Airborne can move diagonally with charge that turn to hit the Sorcerer and then crash, like rain down the lightning bolts. But we gotta make him move that Root Spider first. But that was the idea with the Evil Presence there, was to kind of make it seem like everything's okay, that nothing's coming down right on you to the opponent. We drew Blink. That's a great, you know, that's a cantrip. We're totally going to do that. We're going to move on to this Floodplain. It's a safe spot. Draw off of the Blink. Go down to 5 mana. Tap to zap. And that will kill these Cave Trolls. And then we can continue to just like push a damage with this Princess. At some point, it probably would be nice to get another site, just so that we can cast these ghost ships. We might need to do that soon. Like this Highland Princess hitting for 1 is not exactly the pressure that we want. We want to be doing a bit more. Opponent drew a site for turn, and now they're tapping to draw a spell. And then they cast the Orb. So this is like a super value piece. So it can also be like a really strong like burn. Like you can play double Firebolt, double Lightning Bolt. But he immediately, the same turn, goes for Common Sense. And Common Sense then will trigger twice. So now he's searching his spellbook for 2 ordinary cards and adding them to his hand. We'll see what those are, but yeah, this is a very powerful card in the right kind of deck. and kind of just continues to tell me, like, yeah, I need to start putting the pressure on and not letting him just get all this value turn after turn. So he tutored up another Common Sense and a Land Surveyor. So he's going to stay healthy on the sites, and he'll be able to use that Common Sense again to get 2 more spells. Very strong. We're going to untap. We do draw a site, and then we'll tap to play that Crossroads. I don't even really care. This might be the last site I play, or I'll play maybe one more, but there's nothing in particular we're looking for. I think Floodplain looks nice because they have shown us a lot of burrowed creatures, so having the possibility of flooding one out is pretty big. And then yeah, it's ghost ship time because we gotta start pressuring, bounce that evil presence back. And then we're going to swing in with this ghost ship on that sinkhole, I think is best. Because we want to move that root spider. We want to tell the opponent, yo, just move that root spider a little to the left. And then, stop this ghost ship. There's no spirits to recur. That's unfortunate. But we put him down to 9, right? So if we have 8 mana, next turn we could Evil Presence Nimbus Djinn, and then dump our hand and put him on Death's Door if he moves that spider. So the opponent casts Bury, and that will... And then the Bury double casts because of the orb, so he also gets to take out my princess, and that's unfortunate because... he didn't move the spider, which is what we wanted, right? We wanted to get that spider out. And then the opponent plays Land Surveyors over there. So still on the plan of moving the spider. Instead of the Nimbus Djinn, we're going to go Evil Presence Ghost Ship again. And then we will recur the second ghost ship, attacking that sinkhole again. And, dude, there'll be 2 ghost ships on that site. Move that spider, man. You disable so much. So I'm very glad, too. He almost played the Land Surveyors on that sinkhole, and he would have been able to block 5. But now, with the Surveyors there, they won't be able to. And then opponent plays a Rift Valley for turn, and he shifted that column down. So that's why the Land Surveyors and the Cave Trolls moved up. Because everything in that column did. And suddenly I feel a bit more encroached upon. But we've got plenty of mana. In fact, with Abundance, we've got all the mana we could ask for. But I think Abundance is best served as a discard fodder for the Nimbus Djinn at this point. And then here we go. We go Evil Presence for 2, Ghost Ship for 6, bring the Evil Presence back, Crash In for 5, and then we're going to search for the second Ghost Ship and summon it there. An opponent now is on 3. With that, we could move Sparkmage, but I don't know. I kind of like where he is. Could also tap to draw a site, but I don't think we need the mana. So opponent here was contemplating tapping. He goes for Common Sense. And then he's gonna, and then now I'm afraid because he already showed us one berry. We don't know how many berries he's on, but berry isn't ordinary. He can search for more of those. And if he's able to remove these ghost ships, that root spider is staying where he is. And it is exactly double berry, which he will then immediately cast and just take out these ghost ships with his 6 remaining mana. So Operation Move the Root Spider is still has not worked yet, but I mean at most he can only have one more berry. We also have him at 3 now, but he did just kind of show us. I did see that was a Pillar of Zeros in his hand. So he's gonna move, and I could have actually defended there with my Sparkmage, and that would have been better. I mean, it would have made no difference actually, because the Surveyor would have died instead of the Wizard. There would have been the same amount of minions though. And then, yeah, his Pillar of Zeros is going to heal him. It's going to banish my ghost ships. He's got 5. I have 5 minions in my cemetery here. And he has 3. So he's going to heal 8 and go to 11. And then all of these get banished. Did I miscount? He's at 10. I think he should have gone to 11. I never caught that at the time. We'll see if it made a difference at all. Grandmaster Wizard off the top is great, right? Because we're going to draw 3. And it's going to give us plenty of... Alright, so immediately we're going to zap and kill that Land Surveyor. But it's going to give us plenty of like capacity to nuke him with the Nimbus Djinn. We just got to get this Root Spider out of here. He still has that Cave Trolls under my Crossroads. I really don't like that. Alright, so he is playing Mixterra. And then my mind, when I see that, goes to Crater Eyes. Because I know it's like a combo with the Orb and Crater Eyes. You can just deal 20 damage immediately. So I am kind of looking out for that. I do like that I'm not on my back row and that I'm closer to him than I would be on my back row, because it means he would damage himself with Crater Eyes a little bit. I thought at first that I would get buried from this earthquake, but I'm on a water site, so my artifacts do not get buried and I keep them all. And that would have been a major loss if I had lost both of my cores, my mechanism. I have this other dagger in my hand now, so that's not too bad. But just losing all that mana and the random outcomes would have been huge. He makes a pretty good decision moving these water sites to the back so that I can't flood him out at all. And then so he had cast that Earthquake, but what we do is kind of retroactively He's casting Common Sense first because the orb will only double the first spell cast near it each turn. And there was like no need to double Earthquake. So we're going to pretend that Common Sense was played first. And he's going to again search for 2 ordinaries. And he goes Cave Troll Land Surveyors. And like that's probably his last of each of them, or maybe he has one more Cave Troll. But like I've seen a lot of these guys this game. And then after moving the floodplain, he finally decides to move the root spider. And I don't really know what provoked that, because it's not like I have any minions doing like threatening at all that like, oh dude, I need root spider for this. But I'm not gonna complain. This is what I've been waiting for all game. And we've got the 8 mana here. I don't even know why I'm hovering Blink. I already know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, we're casting the Evil Presence, followed up by the Nimbus Djinn, and then we have to discard. We can swing in with the Nimbus Djinn, put him to 6, and then discard this Abundance, and maybe the Evil Presence, maybe the Dagger. We go for the Evil Presence, and those 2 will put him at Death's Door. And then we have this Lightning Bolt in our hand to seal the deal. Assuming he can't... Well, actually, no, we control the random outcomes, so this Lightning Bolt is like always doing it for us. We tap to draw a sight, because why not? So he plays a Raytanis Titan. I was really just expecting the Root Spider to move back, but the Raytanis Titan will do the trick. It will kill the Nimbus Djinn on Genesis. And then opponent still has 2 mana. They move the Root Spider back. That is smart because... Well, he did see that we discarded 1 Evil Presence. We could always have another one, though. He wouldn't know that we don't. But any, like, Evil Presence Spirit, like a second Nimbus Djinn, a second of that exact combo, would get around the Raytanis Titan. So moving the Root Spider back is probably the correct move. But what he doesn't know is we've got the Lightning Bolt in our hand, and we control the random outcome. So at this point, you know, we're just going through the motions. He's going to swing with the Surveyors. That'll deal 2 more to us because of the Crusade. Deals 3 with the Cave Trolls. Gonna play another Cave Trolls. And then a Frontier Settlers. This is a very like mana heavy sorcerer deck, I'm realizing. With all the Surveyors, the Frontier Settlers. So going back about how we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna like blink and like kill something, yeah. But The 11 and 10 difference didn't matter when he should have healed one more off the Pillar's Arrows. I just would have had to discard one extra spell with the Nimbus Djinn. And then, yeah, the Lightning Bolt with myself controlling the random outcomes will win us the game. Alright, so going into game number 2 here, we are up against another Sorcerer deck. We did the dice roll already. We are on the play, and we're gonna mulligan this hand. We're gonna keep a Lightning Bolt because it can be helpful in the early game to like, I don't know, take down like a 3-power unit or something. But we're gonna mulligan the other two, searching for the Poison Dagger. Get rid of the Autumn River because we got plenty of water threshold. We like to see another air. We get that in the Observatory. We also see that Poison Dagger in our opening hand. So we're feeling really good about how this game is going to shape out. We're going to tap to play Lighthouse and pass to the opponent. Opponent's going to tap to play an Aqueduct and pass. Again, facing against a Sorcerer, we can expect a pretty aggressive deck. That's why we kept the Lightning Bolt. If it was something where I wasn't expecting a lot of aggression, I would have mulled it for another look for the dagger. Happy we found it, though. We're going to play it on 2. We're going to pass to the opponent. They will draw a spell for turn. They're going to play a step. So we're seeing 3 colors right now. We're seeing earth, fire, and water. And then they play a Bosk Troll. And we will untap, draw a Sight for turn. We're going to tap and play Lighthouse. And then for 3 mana, we're going to play Apprentice Wizard. And then thinking about where to cast him, we decide on the Lighthouse in the back because we see that the opponent has fire. So we're playing around any potential desert. We don't want to see him get pinged right away. So we put him on the back row to stop a desert. We see Primordial Spring. That's, of course, a really good sight. We went first this turn, so we're probably not going to get that draw 3. We're probably just going to end up playing it to play a sight. But we're pretty good on the attunement. We have 2 air. Like, we have 2 lighthouses and a floodplain, so we got all the attunement we could ask for. Playing the Primordial Spring as just a colorless sight is no big deal. Opponent cast a Common Sense. They're going to tutor up a Vile Imp. And then pass to us. So we'll turn start. I think we're going to want to draw a spell for turn. Yes. And then we'll tap to play this Observatory. And what we see Fade, Evil Presence, and Abundance. So I really like that Abundance because we can play this Primordial Spring next turn and then cast the Abundance, setting us up for 9 mana. And at that point, we will be all set on sights. We won't even care that we didn't get the Genesis on Primordial Spring. The Fade and the Evil Presence, I don't care too much about. Evil Presence is nice, don't get me wrong. Fade, we'd really want to see later. We don't want to see that right now. And so I think it's the Abundance on top, the Fade and the Evil Presence. And then what that means is we can't cast this Highland Princess this turn, because she would shuffle the deck. And we really want to draw this Abundance. But then we can shuffle after. And I think, actually, thinking about it now, I hope we put that Evil Presence second, because we're going to draw Abundance next turn, cast that, and then we won't have mana up to cast the Highland Princess, so we're going to end up drawing 2 before shuffling. So I hope we realized that and placed the Evil Presence second. Again, as we said, we're going to play the Primordial Spring, shoot up to 9 mana with the Abundance. It does not provide mana this turn, so we have 0 mana remaining, and we're just going to pass. Opponent moves the Bosk Troll instead of attacking. Which, makes sense, because obviously I would have just taken that 3, and then I would have zapped the Troll next turn and killed him. We got to remember that we got that Poison Dagger. Alright, so we did get the Evil Presence. So that was real thinking ahead. We'll play the Princess and search for the Kythera Mechanism. There it is. We can play that this turn, and then we shuffle the spell book. Which it looks like we may have forgotten to do. Oh no. And then we move the Sparkmage up. Alright, so forgetting to shuffle is kind of sad, because, again, Fade is not what we want right now. Bosk Troll goes to attack. We take the defense. We can... Okay, they have kobolds. I was gonna say we could Lightning Bolt the Sorcerer and then just zap the Trolls for the kill, but now it looks like we're gonna be playing... We're gonna be playing board removal. And then they play Violent too, so we're going to take 2 from that Genesis. And then at the end of turn, we take 2 from the Quarrelsome Kobolds. We're going to draw Fade. And then... So thankfully we have the Mechanism, because we have 2 units on that site. So we'll be able to decide what we want to kill. We're going to Lightning Bolt the Troll, and then we will zap the Kobolds, taking them out. The Kobolds represent like 4 damage a turn, because they can attack for 2, and then they have the end turn strike for 2. Whereas the Violent, after the Genesis, they're just 2 damage per turn. So it's more bang for our buck to kill those Kobolds. Opponent plays an Aqueduct, and then they go Gigantism, and then they kind of miss the fact that we have a Wizard back here, and that we can defend with that Wizard. So the Gigantism kind of goes to waste. And like that's awesome for us. But then they have another Violent. We're going to take another 2. We're going to turn start, draw a spell. Seen Aquamarine Core. Not what we want to see after already having this abundance. We want to be hitting gas. We want to see some cantrips. That kind of stuff. A spirit that we can cast this Fade on would be very good. We're going to do a very similar play as the last turn. We Lightning Bolt one minion, and then we zap the other. And it's kind of like a 2-for-1. That is like really good. But as I was saying with Sorcerer in the last game, like they're going to draw 2 every turn. So like these 2-for-1s aren't actually really or just like card neutral. We need to be doing more. Okay, but they get a Ruby Core and they get an abundance, so very similar kind of strategies here. Then they're gonna replicate the Ruby Core, so their mana just shot up. They have 1, 2, 3. Those 3 sites are gonna produce 6, so 9. They have 11 mana. And we get a Headless Haunt here. So it's a really weird play. Fading Headless Haunt is not like why we play Fade, but it's honestly best to just cycle this card. So we're gonna Evil Presence, give the Haunt charge, attack for 4, and then cast Fade on him. And that will give him stealth, and we'll cantrip Fade. And we see another Evil Presence. So our hand is, a little bricked right now. The only thing going for us is that these Evil Presences do kind of represent, lethal pings with the Sparkmage. And we do control where this Headless Haunt teleports. And that can be very good. I'm not sure. I'm tapping to move. Yeah, it makes sense to move over to the right because now opponent's Aqueduct and Oasis is nearby for us. He has shown us Vile Imps though, so I am now in range of those and also the Kobolds. But I think I'm pretty happy. I'm happy to take that. I'll trade some life for some card advantage in killing these things cheaply. So opponent is also kind of getting the worst of the draws right now. They're getting all of their mana when they have more than enough. They're going to summon a Bosk Troll, which Headless Haunt is bigger than, so very good. And now we get Blink. We do love that. We could blink up, zap that Bosk Troll, hit for 4, and see what we get off blink. That is really risky because we're like really on the opponent's side now, but it's what we're gonna do. We'll draw a card. We see Grandmaster Wizard, so that is like exactly what we were looking for. We're gonna zap the troll, swing for 4. The Haunt loses stealth. And then we have 8 mana, so we can totally cast this Grandmaster Wizard. Draw 3. And given the board state, Atlantean Fate's not doing a whole lot. Ruler of Thule will be pretty good. Because we have these Headless Haunts. So opponent is casting Berry on my Poisonous Dagger, so that I now no longer have lethal. But hey, like this Headless Haunt, we have the Evil Presence and a Haunt in hand, and then with this Ruler of Thule, he's gonna buff these Haunts on his back row, and again he gets another core, dude. So it's like I feel bad a little. I mean, he's gotten so much mana, but no action in this game. Yeah, Evil Presence, Headless Haunt. Ruler of Thule. Our haunts deal 5. We have a Death's Door this turn. If the mana works out right, 2 plus 4 plus 3 is 9. So yeah, so we're going to play Ruler of Thule. Cast an Evil Presence. And then a second Headless Haunt. And both of these Headless Haunts now have 5 power. So they both swing to deal 10, put our opponent to 2, and then the Ruler of Thule with his charge gets to get in there as well and put the opponent to Death's Door. And then at this point, we are already on top of that. Like, I mean, we have 3 units on them, and we're going to zap those kobolds, get rid of them. He goes, oh yeah, well, he had Pillar of Zeros, which will not heal anything. I think he conceded at that point, and it makes sense, right? He's got 3 minions on top of him. I'm in Sparkmage range. I don't know. And Earthquake, if he's running Earthquake, that might have done it. But anything else?